Thank you again for attending. My name is Josh Wise. I am the VP of Business Development here at rezStream. I'm going to act as a moderator here and do a little introduction and a quick slide on a little bit about rezStream and who we are. For those of you that were with us last Thursday and experienced some audio difficulties, we seem to have had to have a handle on that. We reached out to GoToWebinar, the solution tool that we're using today, try and get some advice on potential ways to avoid it. So I think we should be good today. So again, thank you for joining. This particular webinar is going to be on the top 5 social media networks, as well as the 5 best practices. And as I get through this next slide, I'll hand it over to Stephanie. So thank you so much. Also, as you'll notice in the little GoToWebinar tool there that should be on your screen, you can minimize that, as well as there is a chat feature and the ability to ask questions. So there will be some time for Q&A at the end of the webinar if there's questions in there. So feel free to go ahead and type those in as we go. Obviously, we won't stop the presentation, but let us get through it, and we'll address everyone's questions at the end. Okay, a little bit about rezStream. Who is rezStream? Who are we? So rezStream was established in 2005. We're currently located in Denver, Colorado. We have about 21 employees here employed at rezStream. The majority of those employees, about 18 of us, are in the office each and every day. And then we've got some remote employees out of Texas and Minnesota. We've got some sales staff and some programmers remotely. We've also got a programmer out in Michigan. As far as what we do here at rezStream, for those of you that are new or unfamiliar with rezStream, rezStream provides software and internet services. Software services would include proprietary reservation software, online booking engine, and connection through the global distribution system to OTAs, online travel agents. And then on the internet services side of the house, rezStream performs custom as well as templated websites. We work with content management system websites. We also provide a suite of digital marketing services, everything from search engine optimization to pay-per-click to social, content writing, email blasts, and the like. rezStream also focuses on photography and videography services. So we like to champion ourselves as a one-stop shop. We focus on independent properties only. We do not work with chain properties. And I would say the majority of our customers are 100 rooms or less. So I think those types of properties are really a great fit for our suite of products and services. So if you're interested on any of those things or anything that I mentioned might be able to help you out, please let us know. As far as why we do what we do, guys, the founders of rezStream, as well as the current owner of rezStream, they came up in the hospitality industry. And they were able to see the challenges that small independent properties have as it relates to their business tools. And a goal of rezStream, and the reason why we're here working hard every single day, is to provide elite level products and services to help you manage your business day to day and improve efficiencies so that you can focus on your guests and a great experience, and also driving revenue and increasing revenue and occupancy. That is our sole focus, and we're really focused on hiring very passionate professionals that have some type of hospitality experience or the passion that you can't teach employees out there today, and we really are geared around helping. And we want to take care of people. And even if that's not necessarily with rezStream services, we'll do our best to point you in the right direction. That's how much we care. And then the education, guys. We've been doing these webinars here for a while now, and we try and get information out through those. We try and get information out through the conversations we have each and every day, as well as through blogs and social posts, what have you. So what we've come to find is typically properties, they know what they know their area, but what our experience and education allows us to bring to many people is the challenges or the different situations that other properties across the country have tried out, or what's working for them, or what's being successful for them. So by sharing that, sharing the education, sharing our industry knowledge and the certifications and things that we have here, you know, we find that properties are able to kind of take that next step to the next level. So that's all that I have here for you guys today. So without further ado, I'll pass this over to Stephanie. Thank you.
All right, everyone. My name is Stephanie Johnson, and I'm the social media specialist here at resStream. I've been here about 7 months now and really love the opportunity that I've had to work with some of our clients as well as educate the people here at resStream about social media. So just a little bit about me. I was raised in Minnesota and moved to Colorado about 4 years ago. I went to the University of Wisconsin, their lacrosse division, and got my major in communications with a minor in creative writing. As you'll notice in my photo, I have a slight obsession with Dalmatians, although everyone here at the office kind of takes a point with my use of the word slight and might put it just as obsession. I also love learning new languages and practicing them, and as a kid I could read and write in hieroglyphics. I supported myself in high school and college by working at a Papa Murphy's, and an awesome skill that I have is I can make a stuffed pizza in under 2 minutes. And I've been working in social media marketing for the past 4 years and absolutely love the new challenges that it brings every single day. Okay, so let's get to the good stuff. This is just a table of contents to what we're going to be talking about today. What's the value, setting goals for your social media plan. We're going to go over some history and fast facts, and then we're going to move into the 5 best hospitality networks, as well as take a look at the future and where social media is going, and then we'll wrap it up with some key takeaways for you guys. Okay, so what's the value? Well, social media is the #1 activity on the web. People log into social media networks at least 1 time every single day, with people spending upwards of 10 to 30 minutes each time that they log in on these social media networks. It's instant communication between you and your guests, which creates a 2-way conversation. Traditional advertising mediums or even communication mediums were generally 1-way. You could send somebody a letter and then wait for them to get back to you. This way it's immediate and you are in control of how the conversation is going. Not only does it allow you to converse with your guests, it also establishes credibility for you, and it creates influence. So if somebody's posted a potentially negative review about you, you have the opportunity to address it in front of the public and make sure that you're actually responding in a timely manner and making sure that their concerns aren't going unanswered. It also provides real-time news and reviews. I mean, in the hospitality industry, we're definitely watching TripAdvisor and networks like Yelp to make sure that your reviews are positive. And again, if somebody did have a potentially bad experience, that you can address that and make sure that your future guests know that you're listening and that you care about the experience that they have when they're staying at your property. And to put it simply, by this point in time, it's expected. Okay, so then we're going to move into setting goals. So one of the major goals of social media is that you shouldn't just be posting just to be on that network. You wouldn't buy an advertising space saying, I didn't know what to put here, but I wanted to advertise. So don't have a Facebook presence if you don't know what you want to tell your guests. Make sure that you're providing value. So to do that, you need to figure out what are your goals. What do you want to accomplish? Do you want people to recognize your brand more easily? Are you trying to engage or re-engage with your followers to get them to come back to your property or to share your property's information with their friends who may be looking at booking a vacation in the same area? Are you looking at gaining new followers? I mean, we all put links on our website to get people to sign up for our newsletters, so it's kind of the same thing on social media. You want to be able to reach a wide audience, but at the same time, you want to make sure that audience you're reaching actually wants the messages that you're sending them. You also want to drive website traffic. In internet marketing, we focus a lot on making sure that we're driving qualified leads to your website, making sure that the people that are going to your website are going to go through with actions that make you money. And so with these goals, you want to make sure that you're doing the same thing. You're providing value and getting them to take an action. Another thing to keep in mind is how much time can you devote to this. I think a lot of people get really excited about social media and, oh yeah, I can spend 3 hours doing Facebook marketing and then I'm going to go on my Google Plus and then my Twitter. Just make sure that you actually have legitimate time to devote to this. Otherwise, you could end up in you're posting just to post and you haven't thought it through. And don't worry, I'll go over this a little bit more in detail when I get to the best practices. And then the last question I have is, how much content do you own? And what I mean by that is, take a look at your website. How many web pages can you direct people to? Do you have a page about the golf courses in the area? Do you have a page about the wineries in the area? This is all content that you can repurpose and reuse on your social media networks that may be new to your followers, but isn't necessarily new to you. Okay, so now we're going to go back in time a little bit and talk about the history of social media. So it really started back in 2003. Before everyone had Facebook, we all were friends with Tom Anderson on MySpace. Unfortunately, I think the downfall of MySpace was that it was too customizable. Facebook kind of took over that platform because all the information was in the same spot. People knew how to navigate that platform. And even though Facebook was opened in 2004, it wasn't open to the public in general until 2006. But even then, people left MySpace to go over to that network. In 2005, we got the addition of YouTube. And YouTube was originally used as a user-uploaded video site. And then Google purchased YouTube in 2006. 2006 was also the year that Twitter made its appearance. Twitter is technically defined as a microblogging site. So the 140-character limit, including any links that you have in there, became kind of a popular medium just because people were so inundated with information that this is a nice way to parse it down. And then 2010, Pinterest made its way onto the scene. Pinterest took a little bit longer to gain popularity just because it was an invite-only network at first, and now they've expanded their audience to the public as well as to businesses where they can create business-specific pages. And then finally in 2011, Google Plus made its way into the social networking field. Very similar to Facebook, just making sure that you're connected to the right people that you want to be. Okay, so let's talk about some fast facts. So Facebook, 47% of Americans say Facebook is their #1 influencer of purchases. And I think this is why Facebook opened up the platform to businesses, because they want businesses to be able to create their own brand and find their own following. Because then that way people, so if you have Sally as one of your fans, maybe Sally's best friend would be interested in your offerings, and then that way she can connect with your Facebook page to learn more about you. Facebook right now has 1 billion active users, and out of those, 189 million are mobile only, meaning that they're checking in via their smartphone using the Facebook application. On Google+, we have 400 million active users, and the +1 button, which is very similar to Facebook's like button, is used 5 million times per day. And then on YouTube, like I said, Google purchased YouTube for $1.65 billion in 2006 and pulled it into its suite of products. And according to Nielsen, YouTube reaches more U.S. adults ages 18 to 34 than any other cable network. So if you know how to do YouTube correctly, you can definitely utilize it to your value. And Twitter, we have 560 million active users and more than 500 million tweets per day. And then Pinterest has a little bit smaller demographic with only 70 million active users, 500,000 business accounts, but 80% of pins are repins, which means that somebody took the original pin and reshared it via their account. All right, so right now we're going to take a quick little break and do a poll question. Okay, so the poll question is going to be, my property is actively using how many social networks? 1 to 2, 3 to 5, or 5+. So in about a second, you should see it pop up there. All right. All right, looks like we got about 80% voted. We'll give you about 10 more seconds. All right, we're going to close this poll, and now we'll share the results with you guys. Okay, so about 59% of you said you're using between 1 and 2 social networks, and 41% of you said between 3 and 5, which is actually pretty impressive, and that's a really good amount of networks to be using, especially depending on what kind of property you have and who your focused demographic is. All right. So a common question that I get asked when I start working with clients is, what network should I be focusing on? Well, you want to determine where your audience is. So if you're going after maybe a younger demographic who wants to just find an affordable place to stay that's near the beach, you're definitely going to want to focus on your Facebook demographic and probably either your Twitter or Pinterest group, just because that's where those audience members tend to spend their time. If you're trying to go after, more business-focused travelers, those are the kind of times that I recommend Twitter is a good network for those users, just because that's where people are looking for quick information, quick facts. Again, you want to keep your goals in mind. So remember those questions that I asked at the beginning. How much time can you devote to this? What are you trying to do? Do you just want to get more brand recognition, or are you trying to re-engage people? If you're trying to get more brand recognition, Twitter and Pinterest can be a great bet. But if you want to re-engage people, you probably want to be spending a little bit more time on Facebook and Google+ and Twitter. Then you're going to want to define your voice and what messages you want to share. And so when I use the word voice, that means how would you talk to a guest who's at your property? Do you call them a guest? Do you call them a friend? Do you call them by the first name? How do you present information? Are you a little bit more reserved? Are you really friendly with your guests? All these kind of things determine how you're going to talk on social media. So take a look at how you write on your website. How you present that information generally translates very well into how you're going to do social media. Again, be realistic about your time commitment. And then if you need the catch-all answer, generally Facebook and Google+ are going to be your best bets if you don't have much time to devote to social media. All right, so let's talk about some best practices. So again, establish your voice. Figure out how you want to present information to people. It's okay to be silly. It's okay to have fun. But it's also okay to be very professional and keep it a little more reserved and present the information that people are looking for. Just determine how you want to be presented online. There is no wrong way and there is no right way. It depends on how you want your brand recognized. Then you're going to want to provide consistent and quality content. So what does that mean? That means that you should have a schedule of when you want to post. And once we get into the best practices, I'll show you how you can find out when your fans are online, so you can be posting during those times. And quality content is becoming a huge thing among social media networks. Facebook has started limiting how much posts of yours will show up in your fans' newsfeed because they're looking for quality content. So if you can share news links or valuable information. So if you're in the mountains, here's the top 10 hiking tips for summer. That kind of stuff is rated higher, which means that more of your fans are going to see that kind of content. You're going to want to engage. Ask questions. Ask them to like your stuff or ask them to comment. Ask them to share a memory with you. Asking people questions generally will garner more engagement than just posting a funny photo. See what's trending. Now, I did put the hashtag in there purposely. A lot of social networks are rolling out what's called trending, which means you can see what other people are talking about, and if you can provide a unique spin on it, feel free to take that content and add it so you're part of that bigger conversation. So again, people will be able to find your content a little bit more easily. Content calendars can be your best friend. That is why I have the photo of Toy Story on there, just because they're best friends. Content calendar basically lays out a month's worth of content. So again, you can figure out what days you want to post. Okay, so this week I'm going to post Tuesday and Thursday at 2 p.m. Here's what I want to say, and here's my link or photo that I want to go with it. You can find a lot of these templates online very easily, and you can customize them to make them work for you. And then the last best practice is you're going to want to customize the message for each network and use the right lingo. So what I mean by that is if you're posting on Google+, you don't want to say, like this photo if you agree, because that's not what you do on Google+. You would say +1 this photo if you agree, because that's going to speak to the people that are on that network that use it regularly. And again, what I mean by customizing messages, so making sure that your message is short enough that people can share it, that they get it immediately, and if you need to, you can use hashtags. And I'll get more into that in a little bit here. Okay, so let's move on to Facebook. So here's a couple important terms to know. So you have your post, which is a public message, photo, video, or link that you're sharing with your audience. When you're posting on these pages, it'll say, what do you want to write in your status box, and that's where you put your posts. Newsfeed is the homepage for each individual user. The newsfeed algorithm determines how often your posts are included in their home stream. So again, that goes back to providing quality content to make sure that your information shows up in their newsfeed. Then we have insights. Insights are Facebook's own analytics for your page, including likes, your reach, your audience demographics, post-specific information, and engagement rates. So reach is how many people saw your post, and the engagement rate is how many people interacted with your post, either liking, commenting, or sharing. So the best way I can describe this is, imagine your post is a billboard on a highway. So your reach is how many people drove on that highway that day. But if that billboard had a phone number on it, the engagement rate is how many people called that phone number. So the engagement rate generally is a really good analytical tool to use to make sure that your posts are doing well. But reach is also pretty good, especially if you're going after brand recognition as one of your goals. And then boosting a post means that you're turning that into a paid advertisement. And so you're basically going to buy clicks. And so Facebook will automatically put that in other people's newsfeed who may not have already liked your page. So this slide just has a couple screenshots showing the different things that I just talked about. So the top bar up there, that's how you can easily get to your insights or those analytical tools. And then running on the left side, that's an example of a post. So it says who posted it, there's my text, there's the photo that got pulled in with my link, how many people liked it, and then again, how many people were reached. And right there, I have the option to turn it into a paid advertisement if I wanted to. And then on the right side is a screenshot of what insights look like. So it tells you what kind of post it was, who you were targeting. So if you had paid for it, the little world symbol would disappear and it would show you something different. Your reach number, how many people engaged. So the top number is how many people clicked on that post, and the bottom number is how many people liked, commented, or shared that post. Okay, so let's talk about some Facebook best practices. You're going to want to post a variety of content. So what I mean by that is maybe Monday you're going to post a funny photo, and then Wednesday you're going to post an upcoming event. Maybe a band is coming into town and you're really close to where they're playing. So, oh, did you guys know that the Eagles are coming and we want you to stay with us, so we're offering you $50 off your night stay. Call us for more information. And then maybe Friday you're going to want to post a motivational quote just to get people's weekends off to a good start. You're going to want to keep your messages short and concise. Across all social media networks, this is kind of a standard. People don't really want to read anymore on social media, so the more you can convey using photos, the better you're going to do. And if you want people to read more, then I would recommend that you direct them back to your website, either create a blog post or direct them back to an activity page where they can find more information. On your social media networks, give them exactly what they need to know, but then give them the option to learn more should they want to. Use photos and video. Photos and video do very well on social media networks. Again, like I just said, people don't want to read anymore, so the more you can give them in a visual format, the better you're going to do. Post when your fans are online. So by going to your Facebook Insights, you can go over to your post section, and there's a little section there that says when your fans are online. And so you can go over your individual days and find out, oh, I have 600 fans that are online Wednesday at 1 p.m. Probably would be a good time to post to make sure that most of those people will see that information. And then on Facebook, you're going to want to use hashtags sparingly. Research has shown that users aren't really responding to hashtags being incorporated in Facebook. Some of the ones that do work are like the Throwback Thursdays or Meme Mondays, but if you're hashtagging every other word in your post, people are going to start to get annoyed and probably hide your content from their page. Okay, so let's move over to Google+. So here are some important terms you might want to know in this one. So a Google+ page is like a profile account, but for your business. A post, again, a public message, photo, video, or link that you're sharing. The +1 button, very similar to Facebook's like button, just saying that I enjoy this content. Circles, this is how Google categorizes your contacts. Reviews, again, kind of similar to TripAdvisor, Yelp, and even Facebook. You can leave public reviews that other people can see on your page. And insights, again, where you'll find your analytics. And so below that's just a little screenshot of what your analytics will look like on Google+. So on the left here on this slide, I have a screenshot of our Google+ page where you can see our cover photo, some of our different posts we've done. And so if you'll notice in the bottom half of the photo on the left, you might see that some of the hashtags we're using are being captured, which is actually a very good method to use on Google+. They favor hashtags very much so. And so it just, again, makes your content very easy to find when people are doing searches for that particular topic. And then on the right-hand side, I have a screenshot of the insights, so it shows you how many followers, how many views you had, what actions people were taking, and when your last post was. So let's get into some best practices here. So incorporate keywords into your posts. Google has said that they don't favor Google+ pages when they're doing the search results, but just doing some of my own research, I've noticed that that's not always the case. And so if you're using kind of the same keywords that you're using for your website, your content has a little bit higher chance of showing that in search results. And this is especially true if you're promoting your own blog posts or promoting your own pages on your website. By using those keywords, you're going to have your content come up a little bit higher, so that way people will find your stuff a lot faster and they'll be linked back to you, which again, in turn, just increases your brand recognition. Like I said, hashtags do very well on Google+, so use them as much as you can. Now, don't be hashtagging every other word, but if you're talking about an event or if you have a winery really close to you, you can definitely hashtag the word winery just to make your content easier to find for people that are looking for information based on that topic. Again, you're going to want to use photos and GIFs. GIFs are those moving images that are silent that just loop around. Google+ so far, I guess Pinterest does it too, but they support GIF images. At this time, Facebook does not. They've talked about rolling it out. But GIFs are a very popular medium, especially with your millennial generation. And then optimize your listing. So what does that mean? It means make sure that all of your information can be found very easily. So your website is listed, your address, your phone number, just making sure that everything that you would have on your website is available on your Google+ page. And then again, use insights to gauge effectiveness of your content and your content types. Like all social media networks, they break it down by content type. So was it a link, a photo, a text update? See which of those kind of content types are doing well with your audience, which will help you create your next content calendar because you know what your audience is already looking for. All right, let's move on to Twitter. So some important terms to know. A tweet is a 140-character message. Your username is how your name appears on Twitter. So Twitter will do it two ways. You can have your full name or your property name, and then you'll have the @ symbol and then your username. So generally, if you can, try and get them both to be very similar. So like ours, we show up as resStream, @resstream. An RT is a retweet. So it's basically when a user takes the original message and reshares that content with their followers. So they haven't changed anything. They've basically made a carbon copy of what you posted. Mention, when another user tags you in a tweet. A direct message is a private 140-character message. So a tweet is public unless you've closed your profile down to be private, but then a direct message is a private message. Still 140 characters, but a little bit more direct. The hashtag. The hashtag identifies specific keywords or trending topics. The word following the hashtag then is turned into a clickable link, directing you to a stream of all other users talking about that subject. So for example, one of the ones we use would be #marketing. So when I click that, I can see what everyone else is saying in real time about marketing. So if I'm interested in a specific topic, then I can learn more about it through that conversation. Your followers is how many accounts are following you, and your following list is how many accounts that you're following. So on the right-hand side there, you'll see an image that kind of shows a variety of the different terms that I just talked about. So the first one, Stonebridge Hotelier Diamond donates $1.5 million to MSU Denver, #hospitality. So now that if I click that, I can see what everyone else is talking about with hospitality. I credited who put the original content out there. And then the next one down, you'll see that I #Google in there, travel, and then again, who's it by. So some of the best practices, again, make sure that your username reflects your property name. If you can, try and get it as closely matched as possible. Sometimes you will have to add underscores, which is totally fine. But if you can get your own property name, definitely go for it. Be a part of the conversation and give credit where credit is due. Twitter is a huge network that revolves around conversation and making sure that people are engaged and talking with one another. This isn't a network where you just only want to promote your own information. You want to tag other users. You want to give credit where you found that information. You want to say, oh, I really liked this article about this upcoming event that we have in our city. Thanks so much to the news station that pushed it out. Make sure that you're actually talking and not just using this as an advertising platform and a one-way communication tool. Use hashtags. Hashtags on Twitter is where it all started. They're kind of the ones who brought it in to make it links and to, again, just increase conversations between users around the world. Be mindful of your space limitations. Again, you have that 140-character message, but if somebody wants to retweet you and pull in the information you already said and add to the conversation, if you max out your character limit, it's going to make it very hard for them to even say anything to you because they have no more space left. So if possible, try and keep it under 120 characters so somebody can respond to you saying, oh, that's a really cool link. And then use customized images and branding. So like most social networks now, we've rolled out cover photos. And so just make sure that your cover photo represents your property well, your profile photo represents your property well, and again, all of your information is right there where users want to find it. Okay, so let's move on to YouTube. So some important terms to know for YouTube is your channel. So this is the stream that's hosting your videos. Your video manager is where you can edit videos, see how many views each video has, and any other analytical tools such as how long people are watching your videos. Again, your username is how your name appears, so try and match it to your property. Your views is how many times your videos have been viewed, and your subscribers is kind of like your following list. So who subscribed to your channel to be updated when you post a new video. All right, so these are some screenshots of the terms I just went over. So on the left-hand side, you'll see your dashboard. So you can find your video manager to edit any videos you have, your channel settings if you need to change your name or any of your contact information. And then you can go down to your views, which is what I have on the right-hand side. So there you can just see, generally it's about a monthly snapshot, and you can always edit that up in your settings. But it'll just show you how many views you've had over the month, and then down below that would be which videos have had those views. So some best practices, think of the value. Again, people do like videos, but the general rule of thumb is to try and keep your video under 3 minutes. Otherwise, you're going to start to lose your audience. They're going to get bored. If you can keep it informative or very entertaining, you'll have them on for a little bit longer. Just make sure that you're providing useful information, and they'll stay on longer. But otherwise, if you're just doing a video to make a video, chances are you're going to lose your audience. If you watch Joe's webinar on the power of photography and video, he talks about how to keep your audience engaged by, making dynamic camera movements or having music. Just make sure you keep those things in mind when you make a video. People want to be entertained, or they want to learn something that they didn't know before. Use your title effectively. Since it is a Google product, making sure that you've titled it appropriately will help you show up in search results. So if you just say, oh, my property name, video number 1, well, that doesn't help me. What's your video about? Give me something informative. If you say it's an interview with our executive chef at the restaurant that you have on site, that's a little bit more informative to me. Write a description and use tags. So YouTube has the opportunity where you can add tags to your videos. So they have general categories. So you can choose like hotel, hospitality, hospitality industry. And when you actually use YouTube platform, it's pretty intuitive, and it'll guess based on your video title what kind of tags you should be attaching to it. Understand your audience retention. So on the right-hand side here, I have a little screenshot that shows your average view and your average percentage viewed, and it tells you, okay, how long out of this video did people stay and watch? So that way you can kind of start to gauge how long do I have to grab my audience's attention, and how long of a video should I be putting out there to keep them engaged 100% of the time. And the last best practice is just to make sure that your channel layout is colorful and consistent with your brand. All right, now we're going to move on to Pinterest. So some important terms to know. A pin is a visual bookmark. Your home feed is where pins from users you follow show up. Your boards. A board is where your pins are collected and stored. So you can have multiple boards. A lot of popular ones are weddings, recipes, travel, clothes, fashion, hairstyles, etc. Your profile is what the public sees when they look at your Pinterest account. Notifications, alerts when other pinners repin, like, or comment on your pins, which can be very helpful. So if somebody leaves a comment, it's pretty easy for you to get notified, so you can go back in and say, oh, thanks, glad you liked this. And then you have your categories. So Pinterest offers popular category feeds. So some best practices. So do pin directly from your website. Now this can be done pretty easily by adding the Pin It button, which you can get right off of Pinterest.com. But the more opportunities you give your website visitors to pin from your website means that's going to direct more traffic back to your website. But you can also pin directly from your website by either adding the pin extension or adding that little button. So each time that you hover over a photo, it'll ask, do you want to pin this to your website or pin this to your Pinterest board? And that way it grabs the link. And so anytime a user is on Pinterest, clicks your photo, and clicks through, it drives them directly back to your website where that photo was hosted. So again, going back to Joe's webinar, this is why it's so important to have really good photography on your website so people are more motivated to repin your pin, because they're going to be excited looking at your property saying, oh my gosh, I can't wait to get there. And then they're going to show all their friends saying, aren't you jealous of me? Look where I'm going. You want to be creative and descriptive with your board names. So what I mean is, if you're a destination wedding location, have a board titled Destination Wedding. If you have a winery on site, do something cute and clever with that. Make sure people know what they're getting themselves into, but you can also be creative. Use hashtags. So Pinterest does favor hashtags and makes it very easy to find content. Some of the ones that I use most frequently for our clients would be the travel hashtag or hotel hashtag, so that way when people are putting together vacation plans, they can click those hashtags and find everything else that's related to that so they can get some inspiration for their next vacation plans. Highlight what you specialize in. Like I just said, if you have a destination wedding, Have a board about all the wedding services you offer and the photos from your weddings, and pin them all right there so people can go through and say, oh, this is a great property. This is definitely where I want to get married. Are you pet friendly? Have a pet board where you talk about pet travel tips. You have photos of pets that have stayed at your property. You know, what rooms are pet friendly? Are you a beachfront location? Have a beach board. Do you have a winery on site? Have a winery board. If you're environmentally friendly, share some green tips. People love that kind of stuff. Or if you have an on-site restaurant, share recipes from your restaurant or photos of the food you serve at your restaurant. I guarantee you those will do very well on Pinterest. Okay, so I've been talking for quite a while now, so we're going to take another break and do a second poll question. All right, so in the upcoming year, what network is going to be your focus moving forward? Is it going to be Facebook, Google+, Twitter, YouTube, or Pinterest? All right, we got about half of you have voted. All right, we'll give you 10 more seconds. Okay, so it looks like the majority of you are going to be spending your time on Facebook and Google+. I am excited to see that some of you are going to be focusing on YouTube and Pinterest. I do think those are very good networks, especially for the hospitality industry. Again, very visually dominant. It's going to show your property in the best light, and that way people will get really excited about coming to stay with you. Okay. So next we're going to move into the future of social media. So where are we going? Like I said, I think visually dominant networks are going to be taking over for the next few years, especially with just the Instagram, Pinterest, how much Facebook favors photos, Google+ favors photos. Again, people want their information in easy to digest format, and I think photos and videos are the way to do that. I think a lot of networks are going to start copycatting each other. Even just looking at the recent rollouts from Twitter and LinkedIn, they're copying what Facebook has done to make, you know, those big cover photos with the smaller profile photos, laying out information, and making text even bigger. Again, just to kind of mitigate some of the noise that people will see on your page, so that way they can get what they're really after in a really quick format. So I think a lot of networks are going to spend time watching each other to see what the others are doing based on how users are using those networks. So that goes into my next point, user-based changes. Facebook has updated its algorithm based on watching how users are using the social network and how they're digesting information. This is why some of these changes have come about based on how users are saying, oh, I don't like this content, or yes, I like this content, so show me more from this user. It's definitely dependent on how people are engaging with your content and how they're using the network as a whole. I think another thing is going to be privacy concerns and anonymity. I feel like a lot of people have moved over to networks like Snapchat or Reddit where they can be a little bit more anonymous and don't have to use their name. Again, that's a little bit generational and kind of overgeneralization, but that is a trend that we have been watching. I think another thing is the ability to make multiple accounts or feeds. I think this is kind of where Pinterest is winning a little bit in the fact that they can have separate boards. You can have different things that you're subscribed to, just making sure that you get the type of information when you want it. And then reviews and peer-generated content is still going to be huge in the upcoming future. Again, going back to sites like TripAdvisor, people rely very heavily on the reviews of others. They want to know what kind of experience they had, what concerns they had, and how those were addressed. And so I think managing your reviews and making sure that those questions get answered in a timely manner, again, just shows that you're listening to your guests and making sure that their experience before, during, and after their visit is as good as it can be. Okay, so we finally reached the conclusion. So if you take anything away from this webinar, these are the things I want you to take away today. Provide value. Again, making sure that your guests are interacting with what you post, making sure that you talk about stuff that they find interesting, or letting them know a month in advance that, oh, did you know this festival is going to be here? You might want to come out for it. It's going to be tons of fun, and we have rooms available. Tell your story. Again, that goes back to defining your voice. Figure out how you want to present yourself and how you want people to interact with you. Are you funny? Are you strictly there to provide information or resources that they can use to find other information about your town that you're in? Have fun. People are well aware that it's a human that's managing it, unless you happen to have a robot, which you should tell me because I would love for it to come clean my apartment for me. But be fun. It's okay to use smiley faces. It's okay to use exclamation points. I would err on the side of caution and use 1 or 2 at most. Otherwise, it's coming off a little bit of amateurish. And try not to use all caps. I know you're trying to get attention, but all caps in the online world equates to yelling, as that can alienate some of your guests. Content is king. Again, social media networks are watching what kind of content you're posting. So the more valuable content you can give your users, the more Facebook or Google Plus is going to rate that content, so they're going to show it to more of your followers instead of saying, no, people don't want to see this, so we're not going to put it in their news feed. Be visually appealing. Again, people like photos, so provide good quality photos when you're posting information. Post responsively. Know that it's not a typo. What I mean by that is, again, going back to you're keeping your messages short and concise. Think of those 189 million users that are on the Facebook mobile app, where Facebook has to condense that information. If you post too long of a post, they're going to have to click that see more link, and that's just going to annoy them. They want to get their information in the format that they want it. So just make sure that whatever you're posting will resize accordingly to the device that they're using. And the last key takeaway is social is not sales. While yes, you can promote your own property or specials you have, if that's all you're doing, generally you're going to start to lose fans pretty fast, because while you care about you and they care about you, they don't care to be pitched to. They want to be talked with. They want to be a part of the conversation. They want to talk to you and tell you about their memories that they had with you, or what you can do to make their experience better. So that about wraps it up. So now we're going to go through and see if we have any questions, which we don't. So if you guys need to contact me, it's stephanie.johnson@resstream.com. You can also keep up with us on our blog, and you should also attend our upcoming webinars that we've got coming up. And then if you want to, you can follow us online. I've provided all the links right there. Oh, never mind, we do have one question. Hold on a sec. All right, so we got a question that it seems that each of these 5 networks generally appeal to the same customer. Is this true, or does each network differ in the types of messages, the types of users, or both? So that's a really good question. Again, that goes back to looking at your demographics. I'd say overall you're going to have a good mix of the same kind of users across the networks. Google Plus is a little bit more male dominant, they have found. Again, Twitter is going to be your more business-focused people and users that want their information in a quick format and are a little bit more willing to engage. So if you're going to be on Twitter, you definitely have to be prepared to talk to people. Pinterest is a little bit more female-dominated, so that's a network that I generally like to tell clients to use, you know, if they're a family-friendly accommodation and they want to promote, or pet-friendly, and they want to catch those, you know, moms that are planning their upcoming vacations. I'd say a good rule of thumb, again, is in Facebook and Google Plus, you've got your bases covered. And we got one more. So when you post on Facebook, what questions should we ask to get interactions? I had mentioned memories. So if you have an annual event, so like one of our clients, they have an annual strawberry festival. So when you're starting to post information about that, ask them, have you ever attended? Ask them to share what the favorite craft was that they made there. Generally, the kind of questions I prefer to ask is, have you attended? what's your favorite memory? Let's see, what else can I think of? What other, so if you're posting hiking advice, what other tips would you add to your fellow travelers? Or if you're attending this event, where's the best place to find parking? Help out your fellow travelers. Just those kind of questions will generally get people talking. All right, so seeing as we have no other questions, I'm going to let you guys go. Thank you so much for attending today. And again, we apologize for the audio difficulties we had last week. This webinar will be up online within 48 hours for you guys to watch in case you want to rewatch it again, or if you want to go through the slides. That'll be at resstream.com/